Martin is out of it, and Don Dozell blew an engine earlier. All right, Ron Wilson brings him around. Robert Hand on the outside of him. Green flag. Robert Hand, Mark Jones, 1 and 2. Tony Augustine, Leroy Lancaster, Frank Brewer, Shelley Bennett, Jim Potter. Robert Hand is your leader. Mark Jones in second. Robert Hand is your leader. Second place is Mark Jones in the 01. Leroy Lancaster is third in 33. Shelley Bennett in 43 is fourth. Jim Potter in 10 is fifth. Frank Brewer is sixth. Hey, we want to welcome everybody from Atlas Cylinders here tonight. We forgot to do that earlier. Thanks a lot, guys, for coming out. Robert Hand, Mark Jones, Leroy Lancaster, Shelley Bennett, Jim Potter, Frank Brewer, and Gary Bennett. Then it goes back to Tony Augustine, Tom Wagner, and Ron Wilson. Robert Hand, Mark Jones, Leroy Lancaster, then Shelley Bennett, Jim Potter, Frank Brewer, Gary Bennett. Robert Hand and Mark Jones. Jones has caught him. Leroy Lancaster in third, and it's Tom, Jim Potter, Shelley Bennett, Gary Bennett, Frank Brewer. Robert Hand continues to lead Mark Jones. Leroy Lancaster is third. Robert Hand and Mark Jones, then Leroy Lancaster and Jim Potter. Gary Bennett, Frank Brewer, and Shelley Bennett. It's still Robert Hand from Cottage Grove, Mark Jones from Roseburg, then Leroy Lancaster from Eugene. Jim Potter, Gary Bennett, Shelley Bennett, Frank Brewer. Robert Hand with the lead. Gary Bennett now moving up into third place down the backstretch. It's Robert Hand, Mark Jones, Gary Bennett, Jim Potter on the outside of Leroy Lancaster trying to get into fourth. Robert Hand, Mark Jones, and Gary Bennett. Jim Potter now moves into fourth place over Leroy Lancaster. Gary Bennett has caught Mark Jones and Robert Hand. Mark Jones almost got underneath Robert Hand in that second turn down the backstretch. It's Robert Hand, Mark Jones, and Gary Bennett. Gary Bennett comes right up on him, and here comes Jim Potter. Your leader is still Robert Hand. Mark Jones is in second, Gary Bennett is third, and Jim Potter's moved into a closer fourth. Tom Wagner and Tony Augustine really having a battle. There's your first four cars. Robert Hand, Mark Jones, Gary Bennett. Gary Bennett on the side-by-side with Mark Jones down the backstretch. Bennett goes real high, but hangs onto it. Gary Bennett's into second place. Gary Bennett Gary Bennett taps Robert Hand. Whoa. Yellow flag. Mark Jones leads it. Gary Bennett slows. Your leader is Mark Jones in the 01 car from Roseburg. Second place is Shelley Bennett. Jim Potter is third, Frank Brewer in fourth. Mark Jones leads it, Shelley Bennett, Jim Potter, and Frank Brewer. Frank Brewer goes underneath Jim Potter for third place. Green flag. It's Mark Jones, Shelley Bennett, Frank Brewer, Leroy Lancaster, and Jim Potter. Mark Jones in the 101 car continues to lead Shelley Bennett, Frank Brewer. Shelley Bennett goes high. Frank Brewer gets underneath. Frank Brewer moves into second place. It's Mark Jones, Frank Brewer, Shelley Bennett, Leroy Lancaster, Jim Potter, Tom Wagner, Robert Hand, Tony Augustine. Mark Jones continues to lead the race. Frank Brewer in second. Shelley Bennett is third. Jim Potter seems to have regained, and Frank Brewer gets by Mark Jones, but he goes high. Frank Brewer goes too high and loses it. Holy Toledo. Frank Brewer grabbed the lead, went in too hot, lost it, and only lost 2 places. He's still in third place. Almost got into Shelley Bennett. still Mark Jones, Shelley Bennett, Frank Brewer. Shelley Bennett on the outside of Mark Jones as we go into the second turn. Look out, Shelley gets too high. Same thing that happened to Frank Brewer. 2 laps to go. Jim Potter's about to lose an engine. Down the backstretch, it's still Mark Jones, Shelley Bennett, and Frank Brewer. And Jim Potter's about to lose an engine. Here comes the white flag for Mark Jones and Shelley Bennett and Frank. All right, here comes the checkered flag. Here comes Shelley Bennett up on the inside of Mark Jones. She can't do it. Mark Jones wins it. First time here this year. Shelley Bennett from Roseburg gets second. Frank Brewer is third. Fourth place will be Leroy Lancaster. Tom Wagner is fifth. Holy Toledo, what a race. Mark Jones hangs on. As first Frank Brewer, and then Shelley Bennett tried to get around him on the outside in the third. I'm sorry. Well, all right. And there's Leroy Lancaster, who we think finished fourth, and Tom Wagner, who we think was fifth. Oh, yeah. And our trophy car, I think, is getting here. Our Ford Mustang convertible with our trophy girl, Denise, in there. And the trophy to Mark Jones. All right. Give Mark a big round of applause when he gets the trophy down there. He did a great job. Way to go, guy. First time up, gets himself a main event victory. Mark Jones from Roseburg. 3 classes of cars. It's a dual show with all the guys up from Roseburg and all the people from here. We could have 60 to 70 cars next Saturday night, July 16th. Tell your friends about it. Come on out to the Eugene Speedway.